Hello and welcome back to another TED Talk, speech. So, again, we have the audience of two right here. My parents are sitting here, my brother's working the camera. So, quick pan over. Tony, go ahead and let me know whenever we get me and the thing in frame, and we're going to go ahead and start.
Alright, we're good.
Cool. So, today's speech, or TED Talk, is on homelessness. Because homelessness is something that is very prominent around here. So, I'm sure it came as a shock to all of you, just as much as it did to myself, the first time you had gone into the city, whether it be DC or Baltimore or somewhere else. The sheer amount of homelessness present on the side of the road and whatnot is very alarming. I remember the first time I actually went to DC with my dad. I was still like a kid. It was about the middle of winter. And when we went outside, we were standing on the step of the building of the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. And I saw a lot of people just hugging exhaust fence just for warmth with tattered clothes and blankets wrapped around them with water bottles and shopping bags next to them. Many people assume that this is what homelessness looks like. And many of these people would be right. Many more, however, would assume that these people are nothing more than drug addicts and junkies just trying to get their fix, leeching off of the goodwill of charitable people so that they can blow their money on the same thing that put them where they are. This is actually just a simple case of the large majority looking bad from the small minority. The problem that we face isn't the drug addicts. It's the sheer amount of homeless people we have, especially in today's society considering COVID. These are the most susceptible people to the virus and the most likely to spread it. Without a home to go to, they can't social distance. Most of these people are unwanted in the streets. People look at them with disgust. Getting into the statistics of how many homeless people there are, though, this is data from endhomelessness.org, and this is data from 2019. To get into the nitty-gritty of it, the individual amount of people who were homeless was almost 400,000, followed up by people in families, brothers, sisters, mothers, stuff like that. Almost 172,000 chronically homeless people, which means people who have nowhere to go, was 96,000, almost 100,000 people. Oh, the best category, veterans, the people who said, hey, we're going to lay down our lives for this country. Almost 40,000 of these people are homeless. And probably the worst statistic is just kids who are out on the street. Almost 40,000. Same thing as veterans, a 2,000 point difference. Even the White House last year reported statistics similar to this. Well, I can't get into the nitty-gritty of what they reported because they didn't use the same categories. The total, if you sum these up, came out to be similar to the White House. The actual number was 552,830 homeless people in the United States. 35% of these people had nowhere to go. The other 65 at least had some form of shelter. The one statistic the White House did have in common with this breakdown, though, was veterans. They reported that there were 40,056 unhoused veterans. That's not a good statistic at all. So, what kinds of things can we do to remedy the problem? The simple answer is we can just give on to those who are less fortunate. Just giving them money, food, water, clothes, socks, shoes, you name it. That can help a lot of people. It's a basic act of human kindness and one that can go a lot further than you think. Other things you can do is charities, such as the one that this is all based on. Hope for All is a charity based over in Glen Burnie, and their main mission statement is twofold. They help people who are coming out of homelessness and who have just moved into a home. They support those people who don't have enough money for things like furniture, socks, food, water. People donate those things to them and they give them to the people who are coming out of homelessness now so that they can spend their money on more important things like insurance or a car or getting a better house or fixing problems in their homes if they can't do it themselves. On top of that, they also help generic homeless people, well, I shouldn't say generic, but homeless people nonetheless, who need basic necessities, just housing or maybe rehab if they are drug addicts. Food and the like. The other thing you can do is talk to the people who have the most influence over these sorts of problems. Politicians, whether it be local, state, or national government. By writing, you can just write letters to these people, email them, call them on the phone, call their secretaries, do whatever. These people have more sway than most of us individually ever will. Working together can solve the problem, but if we can get the higher-ups who control a lot of the money, we can solve the problem at its source. So, what are the benefits? The benefits are we can stop things like this, and this, and turn them into this if we do the aforementioned. By providing basic services to these people, such as rehab centers, permanent housing, and the like, we can change society. And cities like Baltimore and DC, from this, where there are people walking around with bags of food and worn clothes, having to use probably dirty, reusable masks, and people loitering around next to abandoned buildings, into a normal city like this. There is not a single homeless person in sight, just a normal, functioning society. Though these people should probably be wearing masks. Furthermore, aside from just cleaning up the city, what happens when we do, what are the other benefits of it? Well, the biggest thing is we can probably cut back on welfare. That is something this country is, I don't want to say wasted a lot of money on, but spent too much on. By doing that, we can put it into other things, like, I don't know, ventilators for hospitals, and helping the people who are on the front lines of COVID, for example. So, to quickly summarize, the problem we face isn't that there's 1 or 2 homeless people wandering the street. It's the volume of homeless people that we face now, and the risk they spread to the rest of society, especially today. Crime rates will go down if we help the problem, and not to mention, just, like I said, basic human kindness can go a long way too. By helping these people, you not only help the greater whole of society, but you also help yourselves, because you never know if you could have a stroke of bad luck one day, losing your spouse, maybe a loved one, maybe your job, maybe all of them. Then you have no money. Then you're on the street. Maybe you turn to drugs and you end up in an even worse situation. By having systems in place to help these kinds of people, you can help yourself and you can help society as a whole. And that's all I have.
Right. Very good.
Yeet.